Thank you, Commissioners, for letting me come here and represent the new Lebanon County DMO Destination Marketing Organization. And what I have that I gave to you is just a brief synopsis of the progress that we've been making over the last couple of weeks or month or so. October 6th, we did have a meeting, and that was held at the Cornwall Inn. And the main discussion at that meeting was essentially our bylaws. So we had some good discussion there. We had another meeting on November 3rd at the Lantern Lodge. And this meeting's main discussion was the job description for the president, as well as a candidate search, and then we broke out into committees that we've assigned. We had a fantastic board retreat this past weekend on Sunday, the 16th, at the Armory, which is at 227 Chestnut Street. So it was a real treat to see and to be in a historic building. But that was co-facilitated by Dennis Blount and myself, and we had a great 4 hours of team building and getting to know the board a little bit more than just fellow board of directors members. We developed agreements of how we're going to conduct and do business, which is, you have a copy of that in your packet. We also had a great discussion about why are we an organization? Why does this organization need to exist, and our purpose? Yesterday, the bylaws were formally adopted by the DMO board, and our next meeting is on Monday, December 1st at the Mansion on 5th at 6 p.m. And you'll also, I believe I put in your packet all the future meetings throughout 2015 as well. Please do know that the location has been changing every month for that. Just an update on the president search. I received this from the search committee. They are finalizing the job advertisement. They are, as a committee, meeting on December 2nd. And the strategy that they have come up with to post that position is to advertise in the Lebanon Daily News, to advertise on the Pennsylvania Association of Travel and Tourism website, which is a statewide organization, and also on monster.com. That's what they've come up with at this point in time.
And where would the resumes be sent?
To this office, to Kathy.
To Kathy.
To Kathy Kirby at 400 South 8th Street, Lebanon.
Built on that search committee together.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
You're welcome. The activity also wide, the winter spring guide has been printed and distributed. That is something that Jessica Penchard is taking care of. That turned out really, really well. And 2 groups, interestingly enough, that we're working with to come in and to visit Lebanon County. I believe you may be familiar with the Corrigan Sports Enterprises, which is a lacrosse tournament that is coming in June 19th through June 22nd. They're going to be utilizing the fields at Lebanon Valley College as well as the Ridge Road facility. They're going to be bringing with them, they need, or the requirement is that they need 1,500 guest rooms. So they're working also with Dauphin County because of the room accommodations, but we're trying to work with them to have a portion of those guest rooms in our county as well as some of the dining options available as well. Another group, thank you to Pat Krebs for getting us in contact with the Onondaga County Cycling Group. I've been working with Joan from that organization, and they had other options which to go. They do an annual vacation, if you will, as a group, and they have selected Lebanon County, which I'm very pleased. They're going to be joining us on August 2nd through August 6th, and they do already have reservations made at the Holiday Inn Express in Lebanon, which is wonderful. We're still coordinating some dining and attractions for them to visit while they're here. And I myself will be meeting with Joan, the contact, in Syracuse, New York next week on Wednesday to go over some of the fine details of what their experience, what they're hoping to have happen here. And just to give you some numbers to attach with that small example of what the potential is, I do not know what the exact room rate is. I do know it's not going to be lower than 109. So if we use even just 115 as an example, for 4 nights for 40 people, that's $18,400. And then if you were to average $50 a day per person for dining for all 3 meals, that's another $8,000. And that's not, then on top of that would be attractions, because we're going to try to get them to go to Cornwall Iron Furnace, maybe the Historical Society, so they're really engaged in that. So I just wanted to share the impact of an organization such as this, which is a small community amongst itself, to talk to other cycling groups of what can be done to have them come into our community. So it is very exciting. Some of the top priorities that we have still to accomplish are to elect our officers. There are 4 office positions: chair, chair-elect, treasurer, and secretary. We are working towards the mission statement, and a priority is also the website to develop the website. So that is my update. If you have any questions.
I do have a question.
Okay.
At what point in time does the county and the commissioners start approaching municipalities asking for their support in writing of the DMO so that we can move ahead? I don't know that we've done that step yet.
We have not, and I believe in conversation with the board and also Commissioner Eames on the board that we were trying to get in place the officers, and if we could wait, I don't know if that's wise or not, but waiting to have the president position filled before we went to the municipality. But that's a decision that needs to be made, I think, almost from the commissioner standpoint as well.
Well, I'm thinking out loud here, and maybe I'm
Sure.
wrong, but we can't officially give any money to the DMO until you're the official
Valid point.
organization. And I know you printed some catalogs and things like that, and I'm just wondering how this is all structurally working legally. Dave was here, he left, until we get these approvals done, because otherwise, are we spending money and will someone hold us accountable somewhere that we've done it the wrong way?
I don't know, the guide must have gone through somehow. That was something that Jessica took care of.
Yeah, that's really, the guide is really happening between Jessica and Backlead Advertising in terms of the formulation of it, and then the bills are going through here in absence of a DMO.
Mhm.
Okay.
I have to keep
That's okay.
getting DMO instead of TPA. So that's just sort of the stopgap, or the temporary way to keep things at a minimum, at least the guide out there, and that's working very well, actually. I think
Good.
with those two developing it and distributing it. I think the distribution, by the way, is better than it's ever been.
It is. There's a long list of how they've been allocating.
Yeah, there used to be boxes of these things left over even after the distributions that got, they have to get recycled and wasted, but I think they're down now to just a couple boxes from what I gathered from Jessica the other day of the winter guide. So that's already is out there. So anyway, to answer your question, that's really just what's happening, I guess, at an idle.
To address Commissioner Litz's question about when we're going to the municipalities, and I know it's like which should come first, the cart or the horse. We obviously have to have an established organization before we can go to the municipalities. We can't go out with some mythical thing that doesn't really exist. So we have a board appointed. As Mary said, in the near future, we're going to be electing officers. We have the bylaws in place, and at that point, what we plan to do is to actually have representatives from the board go along, and the commissioners, either collectively, or we can decide if just one of us wants to go or whatever to each municipality. But instead of writing a letter, we actually talked about making a physical appearance at each of the municipalities' appropriate meeting after the first of the year. So,
Cart and the horse happens that the commissioners would appoint or designate an organization, and then the municipalities ratify it until the ratifications reach more than 50% of the population represented by municipalities. So I believe that's the cart and the horse. You put it out there, municipalities then act on the ratification.
I guess if I may go back to the expenses, since there is no official appointment, who is reviewing materials and approving them? And approving these bills? I
am. They're going.
So the
through
commission, and have they been bid? What is the total bills? I don't know the process, and I want to make sure that we're not on thin ice. That's all I'm asking.
The numbers aren't above the thresholds,
Okay.
and all of the vendors that were used prior, nothing has changed. It's really just, as I say, just kind of putting everything, at idle, so that
But we're not in a position where we have to bid anything.
no. No, you're not talking
We
numbers
won't do
like
that.
And the only
until we
expenses
have
have
the-
been the winter guide. The board in of itself has not had any expenses
Right.
whatsoever.
Right.
We haven't-
It's all been related to just keeping that guide
And
out.
there really won't about the ones that we approved, Commissioner, for repayment to the Expo.
Right. Right.
Those were approved at our last meeting. And the only other expenses were direct expenses to maintain that exposure through the guide.
The printing, and
And
then there's
distribution.
Getaways on Display is the organization that's always been used to get it out to the welcome centers, state line centers, you know, that sort of thing. That's where most of them go, and then locally.
I just haven't seen any financials recently, and that's why I was wondering
Well,
how everything
you
was
didn't see
operating.
any for 10 years, so I think you could just
That,
hold off
that's
on
no
that.
excuse.
No.
Don't go there.
Well, you did see some of the financials because we did make a request last month or last meeting for the Expo Center reimbursement for TPA expenses. And the others,
But again, I
Sally.
did not
Sa-
see an accounting, and that's what I had asked for.
Accounting of what?
Anything.
Well, you're gonna have to ask someone else for that. I mean, you want an accounting for the last 10 years, and that's not going to be a physical possibility. Unless you go to Dennis Grumbine and ask him for it, but I'm not gonna be able to provide that, nor are these folks, because they don't know either.
The payables for the guides and things are going through the regular payables list.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Sally's writing those
Yeah,
checks.
those are paid through the county funds and then
Oh,
hotel
they're
tax
on the-
I guess the thing is, I don't see invoices. I mean, I see a total number, but it doesn't mean a whole lot. I have not seen an accounting for the TPA expenses coming in and out. I don't know how much they are. I don't know what the balance is. Last week, we appropriated money. I mean, you gave me a balance, but I've not seen the accounting of any, formalized thing for the TPA since all this has transpired. I don't think that's right. I think that we should be getting the numbers, so we know where we are and that we're doing our due diligence. I don't think we're doing that. And maybe Commissioner Ames is privy to them, but I have not seen them, and I've been asked to vote on those numbers, and that's not good to do. It's not good business.
Well, I can easily have the listing of expenditures toward the guide that have gone on, but other than that,
There aren't any.
that and what you allocated for the expo 2 weeks ago have
And
been
the distribution, you said.
The only other thing there was to
Distrib-
the historic.
well, getaways on
preservation
display,
was paid
yeah.
out there.
But other than that, there hasn't been anything. There hasn't been a lot of activity to speak of.
Okay, but it
while
would be
they're-
nice to
while
have
they're formulating their
the
plan.
accounting to see what exactly we have spent.
Well, I think once the DMO is up and running and there's a treasurer in place and the transition from the funds, there will be a formal process and there will be a true financial statement that will be presented. We just don't have access to any of the funds, so I can assure you that the board that I'm speaking on behalf of has had no access to any.
I understand that, and I think you're doing a swell job. And I'm not trying to be critical, I'm just trying to do my job, which is to be a fiscal watchdog for the county. And knowing the history, I want to make sure that we start off on the right foot. I want to see numbers when I make votes. And you're not asking for money today. I go off on a
Are we
tangent.
asking for a vote?
No vote either.
Right.
Just
For a
information.
vote.
Information is what I'm asking for, yes.
I would like to go back to the tourism issue again, because I have an uneasy feeling about the discussion and the questions asked by Commissioner Litz, so I think I need to clarify some things. You need to understand that the county or Jamie or I, as the liaison to tourism in the county, we have not been expending any funds, hotel tax or otherwise. We've actually gotten this transition. We appointed a transition committee. These folks have worked for no payment. Instead of raising issues about, who's spending money under some devious thing, that your comment, like maybe Commissioner Ames knows, but I'm not aware. I don't keep any secrets from anyone in this county, and especially from a fellow commissioner. So I'm not aware of spending any money that I wouldn't make you aware of or have the information available for. As far as the just to keep a tour guide out there, that was the only effort that we made. Those invoices are available to you. The treasurer receives those invoices through Jamie. They are paid. I'm just really, really irritated again because of the lack of trust and insinuations that I'm doing something undercover that you're not aware of. So I'm tired of it. I really have had it. So I just wanted to clarify that before we move on. Julie, I apologize. Thank you.
Commissioner Ames, I in no way wanted to
No,
insinuate.
you know what? I don't even want to hear it, Commissioner. I really do not want to hear it because you sat on this Board of Commissioners for 10 years and never made a request to the TPA for financial information. It wasn't until I took office and I went after that situation that had been ongoing. There was never a financial report for 10 years, and to my knowledge, you didn't even ask for one.
I did.
So, well, you weren't very persistent because when I got into office, I got us at least the answer that there weren't any.
Okay, at this time we'll have the item. Thank you.